Hello, everyone, and welcome to SAU Tech's weekly podcast. We call it Workforce Wednesday, originating from the studios of KCAC Radio on the campus of SAU Tech. You can visit the website at sautech.edu. Here's our host for today's program, Vice Chancellor for Workforce and CTE Programs, Dr. David Mason.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Workforce Wednesday Takeover podcast. At SAU Tech, we believe that every day is a workforce day, but especially on Wednesdays when we take over the airwaves to bring you the voices shaping our industry. I'm your host, David Mason, Vice Chancellor of Workforce and CT at SAU Tech. Joining us today is the one and only Irene Lacy. She is the director of our STEM Achievers Camp. Irene, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Mason, for having me. I'm glad to be here.
How are you today, Irene?
I am fantastic.
It's so great to see you, and we're so excited that we're getting ready to kick off the second year of our STEM camp, where our 6th and 8th graders get to engage in a lot of fun stuff, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Mm-hmm. But before we do that, I want to kick things off. I'd love to hear your origin story. How did you get interested in this industry? Tell us a little about, what were some key pivots that led you to where you are? Just tell me a little about yourself.
David, I am a retired teacher. I taught for 18 years in the El Dorado School District. Enjoyed it. I taught first grade, but I was diagnosed with cancer. The second time I was diagnosed, my doctor would not let me go back into the classroom. He told me there was no way the younger kids will have my immune system down. So I completed my master's in counseling because I still wanted to work with young people. And I started working at South Arkansas Community College. There I worked with students, not small kids, but just students that were coming in financial aid. And then I worked as a recruiter for a while. I kind of pivoted to a few different jobs because I was only part-time. He didn't want me to go to work full-time. And then I wanted to retire. I retired, and just as I was retiring, this job came up. One of my friends was moving back to La Jolla, and she was wanting me to take the position because she knew me. And I said, no, I don't think I want to do that. And then she said, but you're perfect for it. You love kids. Yeah. And the STEM things that we had been doing, I had been working with young manufacturers at the college, all of that. So I took it. And I love still pouring into the young people. And the fact that this was right in the middle, the 6th through 8th graders, I thought that would have been perfect. And that's exactly how I got into it. And the more I do it, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the way we're pouring into them. And I don't want to get too into our podcast with the questions that you may be asking me, but that's exactly how I got into this particular field.
Yeah, that's a great story, and it sounds like you're still very passionate. We had a great, successful camp last year, and we can't wait to get into it again this year. And I think it's going to be bigger and better this year than it was last year. And the first question I want to ask you is kind of the first experience. So a lot of our 6th and 8th graders, it's going to be their first time coming to a camp like this. And so if you can describe, maybe the first experience at a STEM camp, how would you paint the picture and maybe talk a little bit about how or what you would do or what you want these students to feel the moment they walk through the doors the first day?
The first day when our students walk in the doors, we want them to feel like they belong. And the way we do that, we make them feel welcome by when they walk in, welcoming them with open arms, with smiles on our faces. And then they see our equipment. Some of it may be already running. And, then when they start working, we don't do school. We do camp. And the thing is, we don't want to do a lot of paperwork. We want them to do hands-on. And then once they get started, they get that feeling of, I'm not afraid of STEM. I can do this.
Yeah.
You know, this may be something I can get into. So that first day, we want their eyes to be open wide, the excitement to be in there, and we want to be excited for them. So that's how I would hope that they feel that first day.
Yeah, and that's great, and that aligns with everything that, I mean, we're a tech school.
Right.
Right? And so it makes perfect sense to bring students here for a STEM camp to see kind of what their future could look like. We want to expose them to all these possibilities. And so this camp does a really great job of doing that.
Thank you.
And so, at this age, students do know, or I don't want to say all of them, but we talk a lot about the doctors, the engineers, but we, sometimes we don't talk about maybe the trades, or there's a narrative that they're dirty, dead-end jobs, those type of things. So, but how are we helping them learn more about the niche, high demand, high career, high wage roles like in robotics integration, some of the things that you're doing with 3D printing at the camp?
Well, what we do is when we tend to do, like, we're going to say robotics, when they go in to deal with the robotics and program them, they're learning that they are programmers, and already they're creating. And we have this saying that, the games that you play, why play the games when you can create the games? And so my thing is, when you're working with a robot, you have to program it to do whatever task that you would have it to do. One of the main things that we talked about is learning to do math and science so that you can understand why you're here, why these STEM fields are important. We find that that's one of the main things that our young people need to understand when they come in the door, that you're failing in math, you're failing in science. So we need you to understand why you need it. So in this programming of the robot, see, they have to do all the math. In some of the other fields, they have to do the science. So the way we do that as programming the robots, even when they prototype something from 3D printing, they're creating. They're going in to create, so they know that they can be creators, they can be programmers, they can be engineers, gamers. So we try to, when we teach them, that we go through it like, okay, you just did this. So who would actually do this in the real world? And then once they look at it, then they start looking at, okay, what do they make? That's the first thing they say, what do they make? And so that gets an interest going. So,
that's a good way to connect the dots in terms of you're learning this high skill so that way you can have this high wage. And so I guess a question I want to ask is they're programming the robots, do they get cut any type of cheesecake or anything like that? I've seen these videos online where, like, people are programming robots cutting and serving cheesecake, and I love cheesecake, so I would like that.
Well, no, we've seen them even make candies and stuff like that, but we can't use the real world tools, so we cut it down. So we use the small robots. They can program them to say, "I love you." They can program them to make it look like a scoreboard.
Oh, wow.
And they can make it blink, all of that. They can make it go forward, make it come back, turn around.
That's awesome.
So color code.
That's awesome. Yeah, and my son and my daughter were in it last year.
Yes.
And so my son was really excited. I mean, my son and my daughter were really excited, but I remember my son really being excited about flying drones. And so that's another thing that y'all get to do. And so he wants to be a pilot. And so he was really excited about operating drones. And actually my daughter was very good about programming robots. And that is something that we don't focus on. So we have boys and girls doing that, that programming too. And so it's a girl and a boy field, and a lot of times we don't talk about that, and so that's a great aspect to bring up. I want to talk a little bit about the real world application. I know we've talked a little bit about it, but how do the instructors take these complex concepts and really make them fun for the students?
When you say make them fun, first of all, we take away any kind of school atmosphere, and we try to make them fun. Like even when they're programming a robot or when they're doing a prototype, they have to go in and design. And what we do is we try to lead them through, okay, what should we do next? Or how can we make that be bigger? And when we do this, who does this again in the real world? So what else could you do in the real world with this particular thing? See, another thing that we don't do, like you said before, is we teach the straight course things of teachers, doctors, nurses, and all that. But we don't let our students in and let them know that they can have fun in the other fields, in the STEM fields, and where in the industries they're needed.
Yeah.
And so, like, when they are programming a robot, hey, you can program your games the same way. So this get to be fun for them.
Yeah, so it sounds like what you do is you make it relevant. It's very hands-on. There's some theory, but it's really important to get them to feel and touch and do and build and those type of things. So that's great. That's exactly what we want to do, and I love that aspect of the camp. And so I want to ask another question, a little bit about a little along the same lines. And so we know that in the workforce, it's rarely things work right the first time, right? And so how are you teaching the students to fall forward maybe when their bridge collapses or their robot doesn't work or maybe they didn't code it the right way? How are we teaching them that you don't have to get it right the first time to keep headed down this career path?
Well, David, what we do is we go through the questions like we've said before. If it collapses, why do you think it collapsed? Let's look at it again. How can we create it in a different way so that they can realize that not all the time, the first time, it's a win. It's sometimes when it doesn't work, that means there's another way. And so that's what we try to guide them to, that there's another way. And if it doesn't work, let's try it again. We don't want to accept the word failure.
Right. So it's okay to fail, or it's okay to fail. Have it not work the first time.
Right.
Let's think about it. Let's use our critical thinking skills, like the soft skills that a lot of employers talk about. So that's another great aspect of this camp, is that the critical thinking and those soft skills that go into these projects. That's really great, Irene. And so I wanted to ask, I call it a capstone, but last year, I feel the camp builds towards this big capstone or this big event, and where the students have to pitch their ideas. So they have projects, right, that they're building the entire camp. Then they have to pitch their ideas to a panel of sharks, so kind of like Shark Tank.
Right.
And so that was a big event last year. We had a big turnout. I think the news was here. There was a big article written about it. It was really great visibility for your camp, for the school, for everything that we're trying to do and with these career trades and things. And so I'd love the energy of this finale and this final project. So can you walk us and our listeners through what does that look like, and what kinds of innovation you see coming from those young minds at that Shark Tank event?
Oh, David, it's amazing. Dr. Mason, it's amazing. What happens is when the first week basically, we start with giving them a real world problem, one that only them can solve. We don't help them at all, and they come up with some fantastic ideas. Just seeing some of the ones last year, a remote. They had a remote going, and once he started working with the remote, the guy started working with the remote, we were trying to figure out what was happening, and in the audience, it went off, and we were trying to figure out how they did that. So that was a way, and we always know that a remote works because we don't like to always get up. But they were trying to make sure other things could happen with the remote that was in the audience. So they pitched the idea, and the way that we do that, they work on it, and they go through each one of the tracks. They divide themselves up just like real world. They collaborate. Just like in the real workforce, they have to get the jobs going. They divvy out the jobs to everyone, and when they come together after they 3D print it, after they've done the robotics part, and bring it together, it's amazing. But you were there. Yes. You knew exactly what happened. I mean, it was so exciting to not just you, the parents that were involved. They didn't get a chance to actually see the process. You all didn't get a chance to see the process, but if you had seen them from beginning of camp to the end, you would have been amazed at some of the ideas that came out of that particular camp.
Yeah, it was great. We had parents, we had students, we had people from the community show up.
Yes.
Our Shark Tank included our very own Chancellor Thomas.
Yes, Dr.
And
Thomas.
we were very, all of us were very impressed with just these young minds, these 6th and 8th graders, and the projects they were presenting. So I would say the future looks very bright for Camden, Arkansas, and the region. And so one other thing I wanted to talk about, so I know there's industry involvement kind of event that I wanted you to talk a little bit about. So how can local businesses get involved? Is there a way for them to provide mentorship or real world challenges, or how can they partner with the camp to help, kind of develop that next generation?
Well, they can, we did a STEM day last year, and what I did was invited the industries in so that they could do different activities that they actually do in their own industry with the young people, so that they can see that what they had learned in the camp is actually happening in the real world. So we suggest that they send speakers. They can send speakers. They can provide kits, for the camp. They have STEM kits. We can even have site visits if it's possible. Not all of the industries will let us on campus, but if it's a chance for us to go on campus, see a site visit, actually see machinery at work, some of the things that they've actually seen on a small scale in the industry, that helps.
Yeah, I think that's a really critical piece that, camps often have failed to connect the dots in the past. And I love that that's what we do here, where we bring Lockheed and L3 Harris and General Dynamics and others in the community to say, here's what you're doing, here's how you can apply it in the real world. This is why you're doing what you're doing, and you can actually see that in action. That connects the dots with those young students, those young minds, those parents. And that's really what we want to do. We want to show them that, hey, you're in this camp, you're doing these things because there is a purpose, there is a reason, there is a career path, and it's high skill and high wage. So that was such a great, event, that STEM day that we had with the employers, and it was such I think a good turnout. And I'm just looking for a bigger and more engagement this year.
I am too.
And so where can our listeners find more information about the STEM camp and discover the best ways for them to get involved?
Okay, well, now I have flyers out, but you can contact Irene Lacy. My email address here is Irene, IRENE -Lacy, LACY @yahoo.com. I have an email at SAU Tech, which is ilacy @sautech.edu. My number is 870-918-0008.
Well, thank you, Irene, very much. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thanks for sharing your story, providing insight into the STEM camp that we host each year.
Yes.
We're really looking forward to a great event this year and a great camp. Again, if you're interested, can you share that information one more time with our listeners?
Yes, you can contact Irene Lacy. My number is 870-918-0008. My email address at SAU is ilacy @sautech.edu. You can call me or email me at those ways of contact, and I'll help you out.
Well, thanks again, Irene. These camps are critical because they help bridge the gap between curiosity and career by providing hands-on exposure to high-wage industries like defense and advanced manufacturing right here in South Arkansas. There's a lot of excitement here in South Arkansas, and part of that excitement is this STEM camp. So thanks so much. We truly value your partnership and look forward to hosting this camp every single year.
I'm excited.
It's a highlight for the team. And I know it's a vital part of our visibility for community outreach. So make sure to tune in next time. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host, David Mason, and this is the Workforce Wednesday Takeover podcast. Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to the Workforce Wednesday podcast with your host, Dr. David Mason. For information concerning workforce, check out the website, sautech.edu. Join us next week for another Workforce Wednesday podcast. And thanks for listening.